That song might mean a little more to me than maybe to some of y'all. I don't know. Uh, First time I heard it was Russell and Faye Owens. You remember Russell Weege? Russell's with the Lord now. You can turn your Bibles to Hebrews chapter 8, by the way. Russell would play guitar and sing, and he and Faye, boy, they just seemed like their voices were designed for each other. But you got to know a little something about the background. The readings we've been doing tonight, and the theme of it, he was a Shriner. I'm not saying that all Shriners are lost, but he was a lost Shriner and a heavy drinker to boot. And a fellow who was in church every night, they were having revival, who worked the same job that Russell did, would, during lunch hour, would preach the message that he'd heard in the revival meeting the night before. And of course, those guys are on the job, they couldn't take off. So he's kind of trapped. And Russell thought, he said to himself, I'm not climbing down off this scaffold. I'm not going to get down there with the rest of them. I'll sit up here and eat my lunch. But he said, you know what? God climbed up on that scaffold with me. And he got converted. And he'd always laughed at folks in church who would weep in church. And God just gave him eyes that gushed. And I can't tell you how often I've watched him weep. And in a broken voice, just be thankful to be saved. I'm glad to have met him. Glad to have been able to support him as a missionary for years. Wished he was still alive. He got Agent Orange problems from being in Vietnam, driving a bulldozer, clearing out areas around those fire bases they dropped that Agent Orange on. But Russell loved God, and he'd strum that guitar and sing those old songs like that, and it just stirred my soul. And I can't ever hear that song without hearing Russell and Faye sing it. Hebrews chapter 8. I just want to talk to you a little bit tonight about conversion. In the book of Hebrews, we've been studying it through every Sunday night for several weeks. We found out that Christ is superior to Moses, to Aaron, to Joshua, to Melchizedek. We found the key verse in the book of Hebrews, and now the things which we have spoken, this is the sum, in the early part of chapter number 8. And he's about to launch into chapters 9 and 10, where he deals with the blood very extensively. And so he lays the framework or the groundwork for that. When he gets to verse number 10 in the book of Hebrews, chapter number 8, and he said, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their heart. Them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. Boy, that'll be a wonderful day, won't it? Book of Romans, chapter 11, all Israel shall be saved. A nation's going to be born in a day. When King Jesus comes back to this earth at the end of the tribulation period, I believe every living Jew will be converted at that particular time. For I will be merciful. Since I got converted.